Here's a customized Holmes 16-inch pedestal fan, model HSAF-1516. This fan was made up of a bunch of different parts that from other fans that I have collected. For starters, the grills came from a late 90s Holmes fan. I think the model number was HSAF-17 something. This was a fan with the three-wing blade set and the plastic cross base. And then the stand to the motor came from another one that had a back grill that was starting to deteriorate. And the color of the blade, the original one, was a metallic silver. And the fan that this blade came from, the entire thing was busted. And if I remember right, the snake base, the plastic piece was missing. And I think it took a fall. And the reason I know that is because the back rail was it was broken from the back, and it was broken very badly. The motor cover as well was also broken. So yeah, I parted that fan out. Now it does have the motor from that fan I just mentioned. This is the original motor here. This motor is kind of like a, I think this is a Cool Horn / Paragon motor. And I know this because, you know, the design of it, this screams Paragon. And no, not like Paragon as in Paragon Honda, Paragon Accord. No, we're talking about like this one Taiwanese manufacturer that made a lot of fans from Windmere to the Advantage to other brands. I'm surprised they used these motors on these Holmes fans, and they did the same thing for the 12-inch ones at some point. These are relatively decent motors as long as you keep them lubricated. Now, these fans are very notorious for their very flawed design with the grills. For example, the wires on these are very thick, and then it has a bunch of plastic in the back. Compared to the older one, such as that one over there, the wire gauge is a bit thinner, but they are sturdy. Therefore, they allow a lot of air to be passed through. And here's another thing. Now, this bevel shape, while it looks nice, makes the fan look fancy, it pretty much restricts the blade being pitched back as much as possible, like this older one here. Notice the grill being squared in shape. Now, here's the thing. Had Holmes taken advantage of this design here, in which a portion of the grill goes over the motor cover, instead of making it bevel, they made it flat. This thing would have had some good blade pitch. But another thing is that they will need to remove a lot of this plastic on this portion here. Now, this one is fine, but from here to here, it's very unnecessary. Which is why these fans are notorious for having bad aerodynamics. Now, this 5-winged blade set is quite an improvement to the 3-winged blade set, because, you know, these ones are less prone to warping compared to the 3-winged ones, which is quite unfortunate because, you know, those fans look quite decent. It's just that, you know, the restrictions that come with the grills is the main reason why these are flawed. Well, let's test it out either way. So let's start with high. This fan is a very decent air performer. At least for high speed. Now here is a strange thing I noticed with a bunch of these 5-way Holmes stand fans, and that is that the motor runs at very high RPMs, but for some reason there's a very massive decrease when it comes to the second and low speed. I don't know why that is. Now airflow is still relatively decent, but I'm guessing once again the restrictions of the guards is not really helping that much. Yeah. I bet if I were to swap this blade set onto that older Holmes fan I have there, this blade, despite at the speed it's running at, would still be capable of running at full RPMs. Well, actually, no. The blade would still manage to provide some decent bit of airflow if it had the full metal grills instead of these ones. Now, the low speed, it is very quiet, except that this thing barely provides any airflow, which kind of sucks, you know, but it does reach quite a far distance. Let's see, balance. Now, I'll just be honest right now, I don't feel the balance that much, but for some reason this grill is wobbling a lot. This thing doesn't even feel that it's out of balance. I don't feel it. But the way this is reacting is pretty strange. Now for the oscillations. This is one of the bottles that has the full 90-degree oscillation feature. Yeah, I don't know. This thing is pretty strange. And yeah, because you know, this thing, the top pipe, it came off at some point. Therefore, this thing is pretty much leaning a lot. Let's check this out without the grills. I want to see something. Because I feel like this is very restrictive. Let's do this quick. Let's do this. See how this runs. Let's start with high speed. Jesus, that's crazy. That is actually a lot better without the grills. That's a lot. That's a better improvement. Yeah, they should have kept those metal grills. Sure, they may be thinner in gauge, but you know, that's a lot better compared to when it has the grills on. Yeah, look at that at low speed. Keep in mind that without the grills, this thing barely blew anything. Enough. But yeah, that thing performed a lot better without the grills. I'm surprised. So that'll be it with this video. That is the customized Holmes 16-inch pedestal fan.